Hello, everyone. I'm Kira.
And I'm Mika.
And welcome to another episode of Double Feature Podcast. You guys, we had to come on and do this episode. We just got finished watching Halloween Ends. And we just, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I take takeaways from it.
Yes. We just had to, because we had another episode planned
to go live for you guys this week, but we said no, it's too much to talk about. We need to do a review and get it out to you guys.
Yes, so we're going to share our thoughts, kind of our pros,
plenty of cons. And hopefully, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what you guys think, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. But and as we always do, we're going to start with what we're drinking. It's cold and flu season, you guys, and we are heavily prepped today. We're doing a nice hot, fully loaded ginger tea. Mika was feeling a little bit under the weather. We're not going to play with that. We're not going to tempt that.
So we will rebuke those spirits.
Yes, it's ginger tea index. So if you hear the occasional sip of clanking of the cups, you know what it is.
Yes.
Okay, so let's jump into this. Now, you guys might have saw that we gave this in terms of stars or 1.5, right? We were going to give it 2. I mean, it warrants a 2-2.
Yeah, I was going to give it a 2. That was being generous.
That was being generous. But we want you guys to know there are some things we liked about this film. Overall, we didn't like it in terms of how this was supposed to end this franchise.
Yes.
But we want to highlight the pros as well.
Yes.
Okay,
so we should just start.
Let's start. Okay, so you guys, we were excited about Halloween Ends as everyone else was. This was like, 2 years in the making? We had to wait a year. It was pushed off a year because of COVID.
Yes, and may I digress though? Technically, we felt like the franchise could have really been done.
Oh yeah, can we give people what we were thinking?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say how I want Halloween to go. This is my order of this franchise. Yes. Halloween, the first one. Halloween 2, the second one. Halloween 2018. I would have been satisfied. Mm-hmm. That would have been good for me.
Yeah, I really think Halloween 2018 was so perfectly done. I think that would have been a perfect resolution to conclude in the franchise. In our opinion, Halloween Kills was okay.
Overkill.
Yeah, I mean, the kills were cool, but I just really felt like that movie just was kind of all over the place.
All over the place. And I don't know if we disagree on this point, but I've shared this with Mika. To me, Michael Myers was on some type of tranquilizer. He was over the top for me in Halloween Kills. I appreciated the kills, but when he took out an entire, and there will be spoilers, you guys, so if you haven't seen this movie, exit now.
Yes.
But in Halloween Kills, when he took out that whole fire department, I said, please. It just really took me somewhere.
And it was enjoyable because I was like, whoa, but Michael was on one. He was intense, and I think sometimes we know, like with the townspeople attacking him with appliances, the mob scene in the hospital. It was just doing really too much.
It was doing a lot for me.
But I said, okay.
We're going to go with it.
We're going to go with it.
We have no choice but to go with it.
We have no choice. But in being a Halloween stan, you knew we were going to watch Halloween Ends.
Yes, but long story short, we felt Halloween 2018 would have sufficed. Perfect. Chef's kiss.
Yes.
We got the disaster that was Halloween Kills, and now the even bigger catastrophe, in my opinion, that is Halloween Ends.
Yeah, and no shade to people who enjoy the film, because that's the great thing about film. Everyone has different opinions.
Yes, we can agree to disagree, mm-hmm. and some people might agree with our points, some people might greatly disagree, but we love that banter. Yes, we welcome it.
I love the takeaways.
Yes, and I'm curious to see what other people think. We might be missing something to you guys as we share our thoughts, so let's get into this.
Okay.
So the opening scene, I was so happy to be back in Haddonfield, Illinois, baby, where it first started. Yes, right?
Yeah, it starts 2019.
2019.
So a little bit.
A year after, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so the opening scene, we are introduced to Corey, who is going to be a central character in this film, for good or bad, you guys. Mm-hmm. We meet Corey. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I was telling Mika after this movie was like, ooh, with that babysitting scene, in a horror movie, any type of babysitting element is bound to go wrong.
Yes, and I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. And then I knew it was going in a eerie direction when the mother called the son from that. We saw that shot of that grand staircase, how big this house was.
The house was intense.
Yeah, so babysitting, strike one. Mm-hmm. That big ass house, strike two, right?
shady kid popping out with masks and stuff. Strike 3.
Yeah, so we were just trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen here? Like, there's a year that's going by. Is Michael Myers just going to pop off in this house?
And that's what I initially thought. I thought, because they were talking, the little boy and Corey were talking a little bit about Michael Myers, so I was foreseeing Michael going to show up somewhere in this house.
Show up and show out, basically, right? Okay. So let's go with that, right? That doesn't happen, you guys. That's not what happens. What happens is even worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. I was intrigued with this scene, right? Because you find the little boy. Oh, he was like a menace to society, if you will, in my opinion, in terms of his language. I was like, damn, this kid is too much.
Well, I mean, that's the youth.
The youth of today. Some of the youth of today. Most of the youth today. Not all. We digress. But it was funny because in the babysitting, they were showing the thing. It reminded me a little bit about, remember Laurie's scene when they were watching, he wanted to watch, what was that? I forget the horror show he was watching in the first one.
Oh, Tommy, yeah.
Tommy, it was like a play on him watching a horror movie, and then we found Corey showing him the thing. So I said, ooh, that's scary for a child. He didn't seem to care about it, like, in it. And then I was laughing when Corey said, let's play hide and go seek. He's like, basically like, F that. I don't want to play that. And calls him basically a man babysitter. Oh my God. And then we find him going to go get a piece of zucchini bread. You know, his mother made some nice zucchini bread, told him to help himself. He could go in the kitchen, make a slice. Yeah. And the kid disappear.
Yeah. And so, you know, at that scenario is one of two things going wrong. So either this kid is playing a joke on Corey or some mayhem. I'm thinking Michael in the house.
Oh, yes. And you do hear the kid scream. He's looking for him. And then you hear this scream in the distance, which leads us to believe, oh my God, this kid is like in trouble. And then, long story short, Corey goes up the stairwell, ends up in the attic. The kid locks him in the attic. And then he loses it, basically, in the attic, wanting to get out.
As would I. I'm in a dark attic, you know.
Yeah. But you know what? It was funny because I said basically, look, at this point, I'm overwatching this kid. If that was me, you lock me in the attic. I can stay here all night until your parents come home. When they get home and I hear them, hey, I'm in the attic. Let me out and pay me double pay, overpay, right? I mean, I'm not stressed about being locked in the attic and not having to watch this kid. But I also got the flip side of that. That was a big, scary attic. We don't know what's in there, and he's basically losing it. Long story short, he kicks down this door, slaps the kid into oblivion with the door, and this child falls all the way down the banister stairwell to his death, basically. Ooh, graphic. And that opening to me was like, ooh, where are we going with this?
Yeah, that was a crazy opening.
Crazy opening. And we had to kind of explain it to you guys in this much detail so you could just kind of experience how excited we were for the opening.
Yes. And I loved at the end of the opening when Corey's being taken away by police, we see Laurie drive by. So I was very intrigued by that because I said, okay, they staring at each other. How is Corey going to play into the storyline?
What's the dynamic going to be?
What's going to be the dynamic? So I was really, really intrigued to see where this goes.
Yes. And so now we're going to pause and we're going to come back to Corey, you guys. But that intro for us was a good intro.
Yeah, I enjoyed the beginning of the film.
Okay, right. Now let's jump into where we find Laurie, because then it fast forwards from there like 4 years.
Yes, and I'm happy to see where Laurie is because
we said there was a pros and cons to the time.
Yeah, I have a pros and cons because I really don't think they should have did a time jump. I felt like they could have just started like Halloween Kills did, like right after 2018. We should have started right after Halloween Kills.
Right.
I just thought that would have made more sense because we had Karen,
Laurie's daughter, who was just killed by Michael Myers.
I think that would have served a better purpose once we kind of go through it a little bit more.
Yeah. But that makes sense. Yeah, because if people have seen this film, you'll understand more importantly what Mika is saying, why that would have worked better than the plot we actually got. But let's kind of start. We'll come back to that. Let's kind of see where we meet Laurie. So 4 years have passed. Be mindful, you guys. We don't know what's happened to Laurie within those 4 years. And so as an audience, you can't forget that. Where we find Laurie is she's writing her story. She's actually writing a book, which is a cathartic way.
That's what I was going to say.
For most people to kind of put face to their trauma and really get it out.
Yeah, and it seems like she's in a happy place.
A happier
place.
So
she's taking care of Allison, living with Allison.
Yep.
They bought a house, she's in the neighborhood.
In Haddonfield, no less.
Yep, she seems happy, trying to do the best she can.
We even see her decorating for Halloween.
Yes.
Okay. Now that shows a progression, you guys, a growth visually what that means. Laurie, who was this recluse who spent practically half her life in fear of Michael, prepping daily in terms of like being able to be ready for when he returned.
Yeah, and I get the sense of we don't know where Michael is in this 4 years. We have no idea what his status is. They did allude to he wasn't, while she's riding, he wasn't caught. He's still out there. So it seems like she's, I don't want to say okay with that, but it's just like she's choosing to just still live, even with that in her mind that he's still out there.
Yeah, she's accepting the fact that he's still out there. Mm-hmm. He'll potentially always be a threat, but we are meeting Laurie with, I'm going to live my life and live it differently. And that's where we find her.
And maybe she has to do that too because now it's just her and Allison.
Yeah. And me and Mika were kind of playing with this. We basically said, if you hold the fact that we don't know what happened to Laurie within those 4 years, we're going to assume that she mourned the loss of her daughter, that she had to either choose to continue to live life the way she was living it, or become caretaker for Allison because she's all Allison has now. And like a lot of trauma victims, that's always going to be a part of you. But at some point you might say, I need to live a life and I'm deserving of that. And I'm going to do the best I can with that history and with the potential threat still looming.
And then I think too, Michael's always going to be a threat. So whether she's a recluse, whether she's living amongst people, I mean, he's out there. So what am I going to do?
What are my options?
Yeah.
Now, you know what was interesting? The scene when I saw her decorated for Halloween, I was kind of like, oh, wow, with all that trauma around Halloween, would somebody like that really be now enjoying this holiday? And I took that two ways. Yeah, that is realistic because think about people who are victims of trauma might say, I'm going to reclaim this. This was something that had a negative connotation and I am going to reclaim this and try to make it something positive. That also shows growth in some aspects. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I really felt kind of for a pro for this movie. I did like to see that that's where we find Laurie.
Yes.
She's trying to have some semblance of normalcy.
Yes, to the best of her ability. And one thing that was funny is the scene she was making a pie and she burned the pie. I mean, it's just a reminder of Laurie, you guys, we never saw Laurie play no homemaker baking no pies, right? And so the fact that it was even burnt was like almost like funny because she's trying to the best of her ability to kind of live a normal life.
Where Allison, I think we just find Allison kind of just, I guess, doing her own type of surviving. Allison is a much different character in this film. Obviously, she's lost both her parents, but it's just kind of like she's just existing to me.
Right, and then be mindful about the takeaway there. Like, the assumption is, too, all 4 years have gone by,
That's
so
true.
We don't know what that have looked like for Allison's character. But where we find her, you do maybe expect her doing more, or like her demeanor might be a little bit different. She's kind of like a nurse in this doctor's office and dealing with an asshole of a doctor boss.
Can I say that kind of...
That was a con for you, I know.
In the movie, everybody, and maybe because it's Haddonfield, everybody was on one. Like, every person was pissed off. Or assholes in this town. My God. And I know everybody's dealing with the trauma of Michael Myers, but I'm like, okay, the boss an asshole, these crazy kids are assholes. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, and you know how I kind of looked at that? It's Haddonfield. I guess so much death, so much angst is probably just standard at this point, pretty much.
Yeah, and then even Laurie. Laurie was getting some of that abuse we saw when she was even just out and about doing regular things, like at the supermarket. A lot of times when you're associated to, let's say, a crime or things like that, not you necessarily, you get the brunt of that.
Yeah, like you're not the cause of this person wreaking havoc and creating all this mayhem, but because you're closely aligned or associated with the person, it's like guilt by association, if you will.
And that was kind of interesting to see too, because no matter how you saw she really was trying to come to terms with it and have some sense of normalcy, she kept being reminded, people wouldn't kind of
and then think about that. I don't think it's, like you said, I don't think it's something that will ever not be a part of Laurie's character. I think to the best of her ability is trying to live a normal life, like you said. So that is a pro. We love Laurie's journey thus far. In the same breath with this time lapse, let's explain to you, to everyone why it's a con. And this particularly is because of where we find Michael. Okay, so in the 4 years, the first thing I was thinking when I was speaking to Mika, was like, okay, so wait a minute. Okay, so Halloween Kills ended with Michael clearly on the run. Yes. He has this beatdown. He killed Karen, Laurie's daughter, and he's out there. And I was like, in my head, I was like, Mika, for 4 years, Michael is just going rogue. We not hearing from the man. We don't know where he is.
And then the movie is going on for quite some extensive amount of time before we actually see Michael.
Yeah, so I was just like, where is this man at? What's going on, right? And so we're going to show you where we meet Michael, but this brings back into question another con, Corey's character.
Yes. Okay, so we do see Corey. I guess he's I assume he went to jail.
I'm assuming he went to jail because, again, 4 years have gone by. He's back in Haddonfield. We find him working in like a scrap yard for his Uncle Ronnie.
Ronald. And trying to deal with that past trauma and try to re-navigate in his life, to
the best of his abilities. Yeah.
So we following him
for a long time, too long. And again, we're still waiting. Meek and I are still waiting to see, okay, what are we going to be getting from Corey? What is the semblance about his storyline? What's this plot? What are we doing? Okay. Long story short, people are treating Corey like crap, basically. He is viewed as a child killer, wrongly, as you will. And then kind of just in the midst of that, he meets Allison, there's some...
Through Laurie.
Laurie
kind of helps him out in one incident, and that's how he's connected.
Yeah, she sees him in an exchange with these assholes kids, and basically kind of comes to his defense, if you will. They connect, and then she kind of plays a little bit of matchmaker for her granddaughter Allison and Corey. The two meet. There's a little chemistry.
Yeah, and that was kind of weird to me too. Because
plot. I said, what are we doing?
Because I don't. Their relationship, that was just getting on my nerve. I didn't see the relevance of that.
Oh, it was just. I mean, it could have. Again, it could have went a better way, but you guys just served no purpose. Anyway. Corey, for lack of better words, gets into another physical exchange. He gets thrown over a bridge. And then this is how we are now introduced to where Michael has been basically for 4 years. So basically, you guys, Michael has been relegated to the sewer. That's how I took it. For 4 years, this is where this man has been.
At first I didn't get it either, because so Corey gets dragged into the sewer, okay, and then we see Michael, and then, Michael's basically choking him, and I'm like, they having this connection, and I'm like,
it's almost like the way they portrayed it was Michael is looking through Corey's eyes and maybe instinctively sees himself in Corey, and Corey maybe he takes on some of Michael's demeanor.
That's what I took it as.
There was some supernatural elements there for me.
And I didn't understand that too, because I said Michael is not empathetic.
This is where it went completely wrong for me. First of all, you have Michael, who's been relegated to the sewers for 4 years, you guys. That is not realistic in my opinion.
No, and what he's been feeding on killing homeless people?
Basically, because the way that homeless man kind of described it a little bit to Corey when he comes out of the sewers, like, oh, you live, like, usually he dragged things in there and he died, or whatever. So we are led to believe that Michael has been living in the sewer for 4 years. Weak, disheveled, crippled, barely together, and been surviving off the kills of people who happen to pass by, or homeless people, I guess. And then in his connection with Corey, all of a sudden this person who is not empathetic, who has sociopathic tendencies, allows this man to live and finds a kindred spirit in Corey,
I guess. And then Corey now takes on elements of Michael, and now
he just a killing machine, basically. So that in and of itself was a big fail to us, in our opinion, you guys.
Yeah, because I just felt like Corey he took over the movie.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Like, he was basically the majority of the film, in my opinion. And it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I just didn't. And then what was so weird about that, too, is when he was doing the kills, it was like Michael was joining him on the kills. I was like, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I just don't think it made any sense.
No, because really for the movie, I think to make the movie work for me, I really just wanted to see a focus solely on Laurie and Allison, okay? I was initially feeling like, okay, if we introduce to this character Corey in the beginning, okay, let's see how it's gonna work. I initially thought, okay, him and Laurie, she helps him out, they kind of bonds over the trauma, and then maybe Michael's gonna come back and they kind of work together.
As a unit.
Yeah, to kind of confront this evil. But no, it was just like Laurie and Allison were like faded to the background. Other than Allison and Corey kind of twisted love triangle, it was just Corey and Michael, like, mass murder us together.
It made no sense to me. So you guys, that was a big con for us. We did not like where we found Michael. They completely made Michael this weak.
Oh, you know what did it for me?
What?
The scene. Okay, so the scene where Corey came back to the sewer and basically like beat Michael ass and took the mask.
Oh my
said,
God,
what?
Yeah, and that's, I think, when I literally turned to you and said, how many more minutes left of this film do we have? I said, so Michael let this man live first. First of all, I cannot get over that this man been in a sewer for 4 years, but okay. Michael let this man live. Then he have the nerve to come back, beat my ass, and take my mask. I said, oh, wow. Okay. All right. I guess that's what we doing.
I wasn't buying it.
Not at all.
And then the kills. I understand in horror movies you're going to have kills, and me and you may disagree with this. I feel like, okay, you are going to have some characters that who you kill, I'm going to feel empathy for because I'm invested in these characters. None of the characters who died, I didn't care one bit if they died because they were all, I guess we go back to Haddonfield. Everybody in Haddonfield was an asshole. So every asshole I met, I was like, please die. I can't wait for your ass to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the kind of way me and Mika were talking about that, like I said, for me, people can disagree with me here. Laurie is my girl. She is the epitome to me of that final girl. And I feel like since 1978, my girl has been fighting. And so for me, I was only hoping for the best with my girl Laurie. I feel like if anyone deserved to live, is Laurie. So that was the only character I was invested in.
But we just needed to see more Laurie and Michael. I will say that last scene, minus Corey.
Oh my God.
The last showdown between my girl Laurie and Michael, to me, that was one of my favorite parts. That was epic to me.
And you know what's interesting about that? The very first thing I said was like, yes, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I want to see. Mind you, the reason why, and I'll explain why I feel like it was kind of a downfall too, was I loved it because, yes, the epic final battle. What is this going to look like? And when I say Michael was whipping Laurie's ass and then Laurie was coming back, you know, I enjoyed that scene.
I did.
But you know what I was thinking too? I said, okay, so where did this super strength come from, Michael? You've been in the sewer for 4 years and now you got your strength back, baby.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing because was Corey...
Well, they couldn't tethered is the best word to say.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I think that the reason why that scene was such of a letdown is because that was the best part of the movie to me. Yeah. And if you would have had a completely different plot, that would have been an ending that a lot of people would have enjoyed.
And so how would we have liked to seen it? So like, what do you think?
Okay. Here's how I would think this movie should have gone. It picks up right where it left off.
Okay, that's what we said, right?
Yes. So Michael kills Laurie's daughter. And I think as that parent who's already been through the worst of the worst and have been traumatized by this man, that's the final nail in the coffin. Yep. She finds out and she is intent now on killing this man. You've taken away my child. You've taken me to a place of no return. I'm on that ass and I'm after you. And so that's where we find Laurie. And then Allison's character is more intent to join her grandmother now. Just both parents. I mean, Michael, you took out my dad. Yeah. And you took out my mom. It's on. We after you. And then from there is no Corey. You guys, Corey doesn't exist. He's not even a part of this my movie.
Yeah, we were like we were intrigued, but like
no, Corey is not in my movie remake. Yeah. Okay, and so that's where the movie should have left off. And then I think we finally see the final showdown. Yeah, because if you started there and that was the catalyst. And then you had that ending scene where Allison even comes in and the ending scene is helpful to the grandmother. That would have been an epic movie to me. Yeah. That's how I would have wrote it, basically.
No, I think that would have been perfection. I mean, like, still to me, I do think we have sometimes a need to always keep franchises alive. Again, like I said, 2018 was perfect. But if you're going to end it, really end it with the two central characters. Let's give Michael some more screen time.
Oh my God.
Let's have Laurie.
This man was in like...
I don't even know.
I kept saying, nigga, where is Michael?
In the sewer.
Basically. I was like, what is going on? Where's Michael Myers?
Yeah, I just like give the central characters. We just really want to see Laurie and Michael.
Yeah. And no offense, you guys. I love a good series of movies in a franchise. But you guys, you gotta agree. Sometimes you make this go beyond the pale of no return, and
and just make it make sense.
Make it make sense. This movie did not make sense. And so let's just kind of recap here.
Okay.
The pro. Seeing our girl Laurie.
Yeah, we love where Laurie is. She's, like we said, she's trying to make the best of a bad situation.
Yes. We love our final girl still survives. So, yes. We even love that there's a potential even for Laurie to find love.
Yes, with Hawkins. Yeah, I did like that because I think in the last movie too, they were doing a little bit of that, you can see it. Yeah, and then this one too, still a little bit guarded, but it gives us maybe that they're gonna try it out a little bit. I like that.
Right. Another pro that we didn't hint on is I like sometimes seeing like familiar faces. Oh. I know sometimes people will say kind of, what's the point of this character? Now, don't get me wrong. There were a bunch of people in this film where we said, what's the point of this character? Corey being the main one. But I like seeing Kyle Richards' character.
Yeah, I did, because I think there was a relevancy there, because also she's a survivor. Yep. So we know she would probably still be involved in their life at some point. A con is I did want to see more of her. Yeah. I think she wasn't in that many scenes. It would have been great to have her even integrate.
Story to be a little bit more developed if she was going to be there in more detail. Yeah. But we understood why she was there. Kyle Richardson from the original. Mm-hmm. Okay, everyone.
And I just love, she was acting. I love her acting.
Yeah. And let's not forget, you guys, for people who just only think Kyle Richardson is a Real Housewives, do your research. She was a very famous child actor for quite some time. So, I put a little bit of respect on her name for that.
She did her thing for the cameos she was in.
She was in, right.
We need a little bit more.
But I like seeing Hawkins.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get a lot of him either, but in terms of seeing a familiar face, I'm like, of course you'd see him.
He was kind of pissing me off with that 911 response.
My God.
But let's not digress. I'm like...
but nigga, that was funny. I think when Laurie called, you guys, we're not going to go too much into this, but Laurie had basically called 911, and we were like, damn, how big is Haddonfield? Because by the time they came, baby, everything went wrong. I was like, wow.
Yeah, Hawkins be moving with that slow bob.
And maybe, you know what? Maybe it's too because they're like, girls, Haddonfield. Everything that can't go wrong, girl. Yeah. We already here. We'll get there when we can.
He was always moving with that kind of...
Yeah, and he survived a lot. So I'm putting some respect on Hawkins, you guys. He really did go through a lot, too. But I did like that potentially you could foresee that maybe they ended up together through all of that trauma.
Yeah.
Which is a happy ending too. Can we get some love, some happy ending, if you will? A pro is it's always good to see Michael Myers. For the maybe 5 minutes we saw him in this movie.
Yeah, I think the best part was the end part.
Yes,
because it was not realistic to me to have him really, first of all, being beaten by Corey. He weak.
He was victimized, basically. In this movie, it's like, damn, my guy has been.
Girl, I'm going back to taking that mask. I'm like, what?
Okay, make it make sense. By Corey? I said, okay. And so it was a pro to see Michael.
Yeah.
The cons. The cons of this movie was the entire plot, you guys. It made no sense. Corey was a con. He should have never been a part of this storyline. He served no purpose.
Unless it was the way I said that he was...
I mean, it really was like this dynamic, which it wasn't. A con, Allison. You guys did not expand properly on her story, and we don't really get a lot in terms of kind of, even more about like what she maybe went through over the 4 years.
Yeah, it's just that, like, this twisted relationship with Corey, and then you choosing him over Laurie, your grandmother.
And she knew him for what, like 2 days?
Girl, I sometimes get caught in on like these whirlwind romances. So it was really hard for me to buy, like, girl, you knew this man, like, how many days, and it's like this deep.
And then the fact that you knew you were connected to this man, you somewhat knew what he did, but you didn't even probe that a little bit more. Let me kind of get a little bit more information on that.
No, and then if let me tell you, if my grandma is Laurie Strode.
Oh, yeah.
I think she knows when someone is not up and up.
And when she said, like, open your eyes. Like, when people show you who they are, believe them. I'm okay. All right, Grandma. I'm listen.
I'm going to believe her.
You telling me you on the dark side.
So that was pissing me off because Allison was like, not believing Laurie.
Yes.
Like, really?
Yes. And that's basically, you know, what I'm thinking. And if it would have just, the perfect ending would have been pick up where it left off. Have Laurie and Allison motivated by this evil person in their life who has wreaked so much havoc, has taken away a bright light, and now we are duly motivated to kick some ass and take him out. And then that ending battle scene.
Woo! Extend that by just a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. I was happy with it. I was like, wow.
Well, you know what? Give me like, I know you haven't seen it, but like I Saw the Devil, where we just on Michael ass throughout the movie, and we getting a little bit of some battle scenes here and there. That would have been bomb.
Yes. So I don't know, you guys. This was so sad to me. A sad way to end this franchise. You know, a funny thing we read was like, we just waiting for Halloween Never Ends. I said, don't do it. No, you guys, you've ended this series. Just leave it.
Yeah, and to me, Halloween it ended in 2018 for me. That's just gonna stay with me. That's my ending for the franchise, and I feel good with it.
And so again, for me, it's gonna be Halloween 1, 2, honorable mention goes to H2O, no doubt, and then Halloween 2018. That's how the series. That's my future viewing. That's what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, and if you really wanted to do that trajectory, I could say Halloween 1978 and just 2018.
Oh, okay.
I mean, okay. To me, that was just like where we find Laurie in 2018. I understand it from Halloween 1978. There you go. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%.
And then we have that trauma we're still dealing with, trying to repair the relationships with a broken family. You know, Michael's out, so we know he's not locked up. So now, of course, he's not missing for 4 years, because you know if he's out, he's going to be on Laurie's ass.
Yes.
You know, so that made more sense to me, and I just love the ending, you know?
Oh, very much.
You just had some badass women, 3 generations.
Oh, that ended well. And I cannot believe, you guys, that the same director directed all 3 of these. What the trajectory? What the hell? Yeah. I don't know, that pen to paper. Oh, John Carpenter's probably like, my God.
I just think they didn't know where to go. And sometimes,
clearly.
And sometimes I just say, you know, end things, sometimes it's good to end things when it's good. You don't have to keep
Sometimes there's nothing else to say, you guys, and that's okay. Like, sometimes it's okay to say, you know what? This is the best we can do, and it's good. It's great.
And we always say that. Like, sometimes we'll watch a show that just has 1 season, and that might be the intent, but that could be the best season. And sometimes you don't have to reproduce. It's okay. It's great. Let's tell a different story.
And the last thing I'll say is I'm so glad I did not go to the theaters to see this, you guys. If I would have actually spent theater ticket pricing, I would have been very disappointed, even more so. Yeah, so Peacock it was from the comfort of our homes, and I've never been more thankful for the ability to stream.
Yeah, and like I said, we're just going to go out with our pro. We happy to see our girl Laurie.
Yeah, she deserved to survive, you guys, and I'll challenge anyone on that. My girl has been holding it down since 1978.
And my Jamie Lee Curtis always stays an icon, baby.
Will forever be that final girl to us. Right up there with my Sigourney Ripley. Okay, so all right, let us know what you think, you guys. All right, that's it.
Okay, bye.
Bye.